Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome back to the mighty Horizon Sim Boeing 787. Today we're going to do something a little bit special for this channel, in that we're flying in the Pacific region once again. And most namely, we're going to fly the Air New Zealand 787 from Auckland over to Apia, Faleolo International Airport, the capital of Samoa. Now, there is a wonderful scenery available out there from Kiwi Flight Sim, and I do really enjoy that one. So thank you very much to Kiwi Flight Sim for providing me with a copy of that airport. Now, as mentioned, really looking forward to fly this, but before we start, a little message from today's sponsor. If you are looking for an air traffic control add-on, then look no further than Say Intentions AI. They don't only do your typical IFR flights, but they also offer VFR. They do offer data link, which we are absolutely going to use on today's flight. And overall, they have some very nice additional features like cabin crew and so on. So if you like what you are going to hear in this video, be sure to check them out using the link in the video description below. And with that said, let's get right into it. And here we are in the 787. We're going to start with the basics over here, and that's hydraulics are off. Then we can turn the battery on, and we can turn the external power on. Quick safety check here, thrust levers idle, fuel control levers cut off, landing gear lever down, and the wiper selectors are both off. Let's also turn on the nav light already.
Okay.
Meters. And then we're going to turn on the two IRSs, and with that, everything is slowly going to start up. Now, while we're waiting for everything to boot up over here, let's go ahead and have a quick look into our flight's briefing package right from SimBrief. And here it is. Now this is going to be our route of flight, pretty much a straight line once we're out in the oceanic areas. The significant weather chart is looking pretty good, just crossing a single jet stream over here. Apart from that, nothing. And if we do look into the weather, then we can see Auckland has very good weather, and our destination, Faleolo, is absolutely wonderful as well. Our alternate in Pago Pago has some gusts over there, and those are going to stay with some showers, but overall good weather conditions. So there is really nothing to be worried about in terms of today's flight. If we have a look at the top of the OFP, we can see that an on-time departure will result in landing almost 15 minutes ahead of schedule. Flight level 390 is our planned flight level today. More than enough margins to all the weights, and with that in mind, we can head down into the fuel section. And we got to ask ourselves, do we need any extra? Honestly, I don't think so. So if we take the 22.6 tons that are planned over here, let's make that 23 to cover for APU usage and whatnot. And then we're going to be absolutely fine. So 23 tons of fuel are going to be our load for the day. Now, let's turn those packs on, because otherwise it is eventually going to get a little bit warm in here. Well, and with that out of the way, let's go right down into the FMS over here, to the index and the settings, and then we can go into the weight and balance menu and set the data from our SimBrief OFP. 302 passengers, 66.1, and then in terms of the fuel, we do want 2300. Pretty much like this. Perfect. And that's all we're gonna need today. Well then, let's tell GSX to start the boarding process. And while that's ongoing, we can go ahead and start our procedures as well. So starting down here with the oil quantity, that is looking good. The hydraulic quantities are good. The oxygen is looking good. Now the APU oil seems to be a little bit little over here. But then again, let's just turn that to on, see if that changes. No, okay, but should be fine for today's flight. Well then, so oxygen test is actually not simulated in the Horizon, but that's alright. And apart from that, everything's looking good down here. So let's head over into the comm pages here and just go into flight information, ATIS request, and we're looking for the ATIS of November Zulu Alpha Alpha, Auckland. Alright, and send that please. So ATIS request is out, and well, apart from that, we can check our ICAS. So that is cabin temperature. Okay, what's that one about? Well, 15 degrees, that's alright for the time being. Okay, and the rest down here is looking good, all associated and expected. So here's our weather. Auckland International Airport, information Juliet. Wind 250 at 13. Visibility 6, sky condition view at 4100, broken clouds in 5000, 15 degrees, QNH 1014. So let's go ahead and dial that up. Alright, arriving and departing runway 23 left, and the rest is just VFR stuff, so we can go ahead and close that again. Alright, cool. So with that out of the way, let's get right into the FMS setup. Now I've got to be a little bit careful here, because there's just not so much space in this 787. But I think this is going to work just well. So starting with the basics then. We're sitting in a 787-9 with a Trent 1000 engine. Nav database is up to date. We are going to use the GPS position, and then we can do the route request from SimBrief. And load, please. So let's see, Auckland to NSFA and New Zealand 990. And we can execute this. Then departure runway 23 left, and we're planned via the Samoa 3 Papa departure and the LPAC transition. And execute, and then for our arrival, let's see which runway we're planned on. 08, so ILS approach to runway 08, and the arrival is the ISDOT to Bravo. And here it is, ISDOT to Bravo. Okay, and then let's just use the other page to cheat. So we're arriving from Tafua. We don't actually have any transition over here. That is fine with me, so we'll just leave it like this for the time being. We can join them up over here. That's fine with me as well. Alright, good. So then back to the route pages, and let's cross-check our route directly. So we got the Samoa 3 Papa towards LPAC, Bravo 575 to Tango Bravo uniform, and Alpha 592 towards ISDOT, and from there we start the arrival. Yeah, that's okay. And here we go. Then let's go ahead and find our charts. So we'll take that one up here, and I'm going to skip those work in progress ones. Then we take the parking chart up here. Now we need the departures, runway 23 left. So Samoa, where is that one? Over here it is, 5th and Samoa. So let's pin these two as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and have a look. The SID takes us straight out to 423 versus 430, good enough. Then Langdu, YTAC at maximum 250 above 5000, that's correct. Then towards Samoa, and from there towards LPAC. So that's all looking correct over here. Alright, then let's go ahead and request our wind data. And that's going through SimBrief once again. Load. And we should need to execute this. Looks like we don't in this simulation, but that's fine. Alright, so let's see. Climb forecast uplink, load, and descent forecast uplink, load. So for the progress page, 1,597 miles, which is, yeah, pretty much the same that's expected versus 1,600. So going on from there, we can have a look at the RadNav page where we don't need anything, the fix info page where I am going to copy and paste our departure airport for MSA awareness. Then VNav page, transition altitude, it says 18,000 in here. Let's see, should be 13,000. Alright, so now on to the performance in it. So, alternate is 2.2, final 2.1, so we're looking at 4.3. We'll leave the zero fuel blank for the time being. Flight level 390 is correct, cost index is 30, and the cruise CG 30 as well. So, on to the takeoff page, and we are going to fly noise abatement procedure 2. So, acceleration in 1000 feet, we can leave the rest basically unfilled down here. I suppose we can just click into the empty fields, then the sim is just going to copy that stuff in. That's fair with me as well. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much our FMS setup completed for the time being. Then let's go ahead and do our flight deck pre-flight. So the IRS is aligning, we don't need the APU just yet. Flight deck door power on, emergency lights armed. So window heats are coming on. Let's see about the refueling. 23 tons are on board. So passenger signs are coming on. Up here everything is set. The anti-ices can go to auto. Nav light is on, and over here everything is set as well. Then we're moving down to the main panel where we'll take traffic, and then we do want that menu, and I want airports up here as well. Very good. So that's set to hectopascals already, and we don't need to select anything else. Excellent. So flight directors on, auto throttle on. We'll leave the MCP as it is. You're going to get the traffic as well, and the airports as well. So then, QNH is already pre-selected, auto brake set. Then let's see about our frequencies. So, aerodrome ground charts. We have delivery 128.2. Oh, come on. So 128.2 going active, and then ground 121.9 into the standby. On the right hand radios, 121.5 is going up here, and we don't really need tinnitus, so that's just about fine. So everything down here is set. You're going to go to the transponder over here, Squawk 2000, like this, and you're going to VHF as well. And that's basically our entire comm setup. Okay, easy going. So with all those basics aside, let's go ahead and start to do some of the more precious work. Okay, let's go ahead and request our departure clearance. So that is information Juliet. So flight information, exit, and then departure clearance request. ATC facility is going to be November Zulu Alpha Alpha. Gate, where are we? Does it say anything up here? Do I really have to look outside now? Gate number 10. Okay, I can live with that. And artist Juliet. Pretext, good morning. Alright, so Air New Zealand 990 from Auckland to NSFA, gate 10, artist Juliet, good morning, sent. Perfect, so while we're waiting for the ATIS to arrive, or rather while we're waiting for the departure clearance to arrive, let's go ahead and start with our briefing, please. So we are departing Auckland, runway 23 left, and our departure is the Samoa 3 Papa. Initial climb.
Boarding has started and the first passengers are aboard the plane.
Thanks. Initial climb will be by air traffic control, and we have
Flight 990. We're thrilled to have you with us today as we head to Faleolo.
Extra fuel, basically none.
Passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats.
So clearance has just arrived. We'll do that in a moment.
Don't hesitate to reach out to me or any of my fantastic crew members. Sarah, Mike,
so let's just
Jessica,
go ahead with the rest of our briefing here. Now, we are going to have no hotspots for our taxi routing. There is a stop margin of, well, maybe about a couple hundred meters here. I really don't know, the tool doesn't calculate it. Now, engine out straight at 25 miles, climbing out to the open ocean. 3,000 feet is going to keep us safe over there, and we have nothing special or non-standard. Immediate return below the max landing weight, so no problem at all. Coming back on a runway 23 left. Do you have any threats for this one? No, me neither. Perfect, so that's our briefing complete. Then let's see, ATC uplink, clear 2, November Sierra, Foxtrot Alpha, that's in here. So, via the Samoa 3 Papa departure, maintain 10,000, which is set. Departure on 120.1. I'll just pre-select that over here. So 120.1 and the squawk 3727. Alright, expect runway 23 left, and that's all looking good, so let's hit accept. And clearance is accepted. Perfect. So, very nice. Then we can cancel that one away again. Our clearance is in, our clearance is checked. Park and brake is set. Then let's do the pre-flight checklist. And that's the pre-flight checklist complete. Alright, so let's see what GSX is about doing. Boarding completed, so prepare position for pushback and departure, please. Starting APU, and then let's use the moment to say good morning to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. This is Sierra Captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel in the name of Air New Zealand. Welcome aboard our Boeing 7879 on our flight towards APU. Now, today's flight time will be about 3 hours 15 minutes. We expect a smooth ride in 39,000 feet. Make yourself comfortable on board, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us, and if there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. Thank you very much for your attention, and again, welcome aboard. Okay, so by now everything is done down there. The APU is running. Ground power should be disconnected any moment. In the meantime, let's go ahead and do our load sheet. So per minute, 0 fuel weight, 166.1. And if I'm not totally mistaken, that is indeed what had been planned. Yep, it is. Perfect, so gross weight 189.1. So let's go to the performance over here. So condition is dry, we'll take the figures, rating optimum, flaps config optimum, anti-ice off, and improved climb no. Weights are looking good, and calculate. Alright, takeoff 2 at 53 degrees. Well, we can actually just send the output. So takeoff, accept. So 6 units of trim, 44, 50, 58, and that's all looking correct. And that's takeoff 2 at 53, which is all correct. And you can actually give me climb 2 with that. Alright, looking very good. So then, let's go ahead and do the before start procedure. Ground from flight deck? Yeah, go ahead. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pins installed. That's all confirmed. Roger, can we pressurize? Yes, you can pressurize. Thanks. So, 150. Is that a 9? No, that's an 8. 158, enough. 231, 10,000 is correct. So let me guess, no fuel in center message, what a surprise. Okay, so 6 units of trim. Here we go. And transponder out off. Okay, before start checklist please. Passenger signs are on. MCP V2158 heading 231, altitude 10,000. Takeoff speeds V1 144, VR 150, V2 158. CDL pre-flight completed. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed. Holding at the beacon. Delivery Air New Zealand 990, request startup.
New Zealand 990, startup approved, report ready to taxi.
Startup approved, Wilco Air New Zealand 990. Auckland ground Air New Zealand 990, request pushback.
New Zealand 990, pushback approved, face east.
Pushback approved, face east, New Zealand 990. So, before start checklist complete, ground flight deck, go ahead. So, push approved, face east, park and brake set. Release brakes, brakes released. Thanks, starting the pushback, stand by for engine start. Roger. Well, and with that, off we go. Man, I've been waiting for a long time to do another 787 flight. Really happy to see that we're finally here doing one. Alright, so pushback might take a little while here, and since we can start both engines at the same time in the 787, we are going to wait a little bit.
Flight 990. We're thrilled to have you with us today as we head to Faleolo. I'm Deshaun Williams, your lead flight attendant, and joining me today are my awesome crew members, Lisa, Jamal, and Tasha. Our captain, Emmanuel, and first officer are up front, ready to take us on our journey. Now, let's talk about safety, eh? First things first, please make sure your seatbelt is fastened low and tight across your lap. To unbuckle, just lift the buckle and you're free to move about. In case of an emergency, oxygen masks will drop down from above.
Okay, starting both
Pull
engines.
the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place it over your nose and mouth and secure it with the elastic band. Remember to put your mask on first before assisting others, eh? As for the life vests, they're located under your seats. To use them, pull them out, slip it over your head, and pull the straps to tighten. Inflate it by pulling the red tabs or by blowing into the tubes. Now, let's talk exits. We got 2 doors in the front, 2 over the wings, and 2 in the back. Just follow the illuminated signs to find your nearest exit, which might be behind you, eh? We're cruising at 39,000 feet today, and the expected flight time is about 3 hours and 17 minutes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our iconic safety videos and authentic Maori hospitality. Oh, and just a heads up, after our meal service, we'll be coming around with some goodies from the Air New Zealand shop, so keep an eye out for that. All right, Emmanuel, the cabin is ready for departure.
Thank you very much. Okay, so far so good. So, we've got... Well, we heard the starters disengage already, and here we go. So, pushback's complete, set the brakes. Brakes are set, and we got 2 good engine starts. You're clear to disconnect, show me the pin on the left side, please. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. So, cabin temperature. Oh, come on, it's getting there, slowly but steadily. Anti-ice packs. It's still shedding them, but they should be coming back alive soon. I'm not too worried about that. Alright, cool. So let's do a recall here, and that's all looking good. Okay, so... they're moving the tuck. Wing walker's committing suicide back there. Really, guys, talk to someone. Get some help. I mean it. Alright, and down there they are removing the pin. Hopefully removing themselves. Yep, here we go. Very good. What else could you possibly be asking for? Alright, well, can't see him anywhere. Wait, really? Where did he went? Oh, there he comes. Alright, so there he is, holding a pin in the hands. I can't see him showing us the signal, now that he's behind the line, maybe? No. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. And the rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. Okay, B4 taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto, recall, checked, flight controls, checked, ground equipment, clear, APU, off. B4 taxi checklist complete. New Zealand 990, request taxi.
New Zealand 990, taxi to runway 23 left via Kilo Bravo, Bravo 1, Alpha 1.
New Zealand 990, taxi runway 23 left via Kilo, Bravo, Bravo 1, Alpha 1. So, Kilo is straight ahead, then Bravo is over here, and then we've got Bravo 1, Alpha 1. Okay, looks good. Clear right side, and clear left side. Brakes released, let's go. Still says ATC over here. Is there anything in the comm? New messages. Yeah, okay, we saw that one. Okay, so we're on Kilo over here, and then Bravo is going to be the first one to the left. Alright, so I have no changes to the takeoff briefing, but let's go over the most important items real quick. It's going to be a left seat takeoff, runway 23 left, flaps 5, and that's indeed checked down here. Speed 44, 50, 58, SITS is more or less straight ahead for a little while, and then we're going to contact departure when advised by air traffic control. Initial climb 10,000, and the MSA for this one is, let's see that again, 2,800 in the departure sector. A little bit of high terrain to the right hand side, so we stay on the runway track until Lengu and then make our right hand turn. Apart from that, I have no specials, and in case of any engine failures, we just proceed on the runway heading, climbing to 3,000 out to the open water. Any questions? No? Wonderful, so that's our briefing complete. Then let's see, departure is on here, that's fine, and we'll be handed the tower frequency anyway, so that's all good. Alright, Bravo 3. Bravo 1 is probably at the very end over there. What does it say in here? Bravo 2, yep, and we're going via Bravo 1, Alpha 1. So, Bravo 1 is coming up to the right-hand side here. And then Alpha 1 is more or less the straight taxiway there. Looks like we have quite a bit of drag here when going through the turns. We went down from 10 to 5 knots. That was more than I expected. Okay, so that's Alpha 1.
New Zealand 990, contact tower on 118.7.
118.7, New Zealand 990. Tower New Zealand 990 heavy
approaching
ready for
2,
departure.
3 left.
New Zealand 990, Auckland Tower, runway 23 left, winds 250 at 13, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 23 left, clear for takeoff, New Zealand 990. Having crew, prepare for departure. So, before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist, complete. Right, and we are clear on the approach and also clear on the right. So, are you ready for rolling takeoff? That surely sounds like a yes. Takeoff.
On runway 23 left.
Intentional. Set thrust. Thrust set. 80 knots. Checked. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Autopilot on. Just because I simply want to enjoy the views here. Alright, flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1.
New Zealand 990 at contact departure.
Forward to departure, New Zealand 990. Flaps up, speed checked, flaps up. Departure on New Zealand 990, heavy passing 1,900, climbing 10,000. So flaps showing
New
up.
Zealand 990, Auckland departure. Radar contact. Climb 10,000.
Climb 10,000, New Zealand 990. Right, after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist, complete. Alright, so the engines are in climb thrust, then we don't need that timer anymore since we do have the elapsed time running. Well, well, and with that we're up and on the way. And look at that, even with climb 2, we're still getting 3,600 feet a minute out of the airplane.
New Zealand 990, climb flight level 220.
New Zealand 990, climb flight level 220. Set. 220 checked. Alright, and then we can go over to weather. Won't need the terrain anymore. We already met the 5,000 restriction. That's very good.
New Zealand 990, contact Christchurch info on 125.1.
125.1, New Zealand 990. Christchurch, New Zealand 990 heavy, passing 7,400, climbing level 220.
New Zealand 990, Christchurch info identified. We're at Auckland, QNH 1014.
QNH 1014 and New Zealand 990. I just really love those clouds of FS 2024. They just look so good. Right, so we're approaching 10,000 already. Let's just keep our guests seated for a little while. But passing 10,000. Lights are going off, waiting for the passenger signs. We still have the 250 restriction over at YTAC anyway. Okay, and then let's have a quick look down here. So, VNAV. Optimum 386, maximum 415. ETA at...
New Zealand 990, climb flight level 290.
You've just climbed above the safe out.
Climb flight level 290, New Zealand 990.
This is now allowed. Feel free to connect to
Set.
our onboard
290
Wi-Fi service
checked.
as well. We appreciate your cooperation during the climb. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Alright, my friends. So, things are looking pretty good here for an on-time arrival. We're just waiting until we are past that 250 restriction so that we can pitch down a bit and then also release our guests. In the meantime, that's done that. And that's standard cross-checked. Passing level 135 now. Checked. Alright. So, that much for our basics. Then let's connect to CPDLC. That should be November Zulu Zulu Oscar. So COM ADC lock on. November Zulu Zulu Oscar. Alright. Air New Zealand 990 from Auckland to NSFA and sent. Very well then. We're passing YTAG. That means our speed restriction will be gone in a few moments. So once the nose comes down, we'll release our guests, and then that's really everything there is to it. Flight level 390 will be our final level today. And I think for the time being, that's pretty much all that I can offer you guys. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And here we are approaching Faleolo Airport, passing 14.4 right now. We can turn on the fasten seatbelt signs, and with that it's just about 50 nautical miles remaining, so just about enough time to get you guys into the loop. Now, we do not have any Asus available in Faleolo. There simply is none in the real world. Yes, it's one of those places, and yes, they do fly 787s into there. So let's go ahead and have a look at what we actually have. As we can see on the ILS chart, there is only tower frequency, so we can use that to get the latest weather, and indeed that is exactly what we would do in the real world. So you would simply take your comm number 2, call tower, and ask them for the weather. However, I'm not 100% sure what that would do to say intentions, and I don't want to mess it up right now, so I'm rather gonna try that, let's say, on a non-serious flight. Alright, apart from that, we are currently following our arrival, and we can see on the star chart that it's a fairly simple one. So from Eastdot to Bravo towards Tafua, maximum 230 knots, and then we'll get radar vectors to the final. Now, MSA-wise, the highest is 8,200. We do have some high mountains here, 3,800 on that island and 6,100 on that island. We can't see any of the two yet, so let's see if we actually flew to the right place or if we're going somewhere completely wrong. No, I'm just joking. The 787 is a reliable airplane. There would be others that I might be concerned about. Now, approach itself, fairly easy one, starting in 2,500, 7.5 miles, 3-degree glide slope. The go-around is an interesting one. Straight ahead to Faleolo VOR, left turn radial 053, which is basically exactly along the shoreline until 2,500, and then a left turn back to the station, climbing 5,700, maximum 185 knots. In other words, we gotta keep the flaps out. If that's what they want, they can have that. So, level change, 1,000 to go, and let's do vertical speed here, 1,000 feet a minute. A little bit reactive on that vertical speed. Alright, and well, that's the basics we have here, so let's go and do a quick approach briefing. Alright, so Easter to Bravo arrival, MSA the highest 8,000, and we are going to fly an ILS approach with a minimum at 350 feet barometric, 6 tons on arrival versus a minimum of 4.3, so we have basically like half an hour extra. Alright, thanks. So back to our side here, and we do have an ILS approach guided by the flight directors, flaps 30 landing, maximum reverse. We can probably only vacate the runway at the very beginning. No, actually at the very end, landing 08, so we are going to vacate right over here into Bravo, and then probably one of those 3 stands over here, and that's it. No hotspots, no nothing. Any questions? No? Wonderful. So that's our briefing complete. New Zealand 990, request further descent.
New Zealand 990, descend altitude 8,000 feet.
Descent altitude 8,000 feet, New Zealand 990. Set, 8,000 checked, vertical speed. And we're passing 10, so lights are coming on. Signs are on anyway already. Very good. So, 1016 is the current QNH. Approach checklist, please. Altimeters, QNH 1016, approach checklist complete. I like it when things are this easy. Okay, we have some land in sight, so even if I messed up the navigation, now at least we could land somewhere. Just joking, of course. 1,000 to go. So I'm wondering how they would do things in the real world over here. When I look at the charts, the star chart doesn't have anything en route, it's just the tower. So I guess they would just eventually hand you over to the tower, and then the tower might do some radar vectoring. In some remote places this happens. Not just here in the Pacific, but also, for example, in the Caribbean. The tower could do the job of the approach controller as well. So we'll have to see about what they're actually up to over here. New Zealand 990, request further descent.
New Zealand 990, descend altitude 6,000 feet.
Descend altitude 6,000 feet, New Zealand 990. Okay, set, 6,000 checked, level change. And you go all the way back to idle, please. 1,000 feet above the profile, that's kind of fine. In my opinion, the Horizon is descending a bit too fast. I mean, we're in idle thrust now at the clean speed, and it's giving us 1,700 feet a minute. That's probably a bit too much. $1,000 to go. Vertical speed. Okay, down there is our field. Unfortunately, some clouds ahead, otherwise I would just request a visual approach. New Zealand 990, request vectors. Let's see if they can do that.
New Zealand 990, fly heading 065 for vectors to Faleolo Airport.
Fly heading 065, New Zealand 990. So that's quite a bit to the right. Let's see what they're gonna do. In the meantime, we can extend the center line, please. So that's gonna be 077 inbound. Execute. That's the angle of bank order, that's probably a bit easier. So that looks just about like the island paradise I was hoping for. And there's the field. I tell you what, let's do a visual. New Zealand 990, request visual approach.
New Zealand 990, cleared for visual approach runway 8 at Faleolo Airport.
Cleared visual approach runway 8, New Zealand 990. Excellent. So, flight directors off. Auto thrust off. Yes, I'm doing it up here because the Ryzen has that known bug. Okay, flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Alright, let's use some speed brakes to get down. So that's our airfield down there. You can see we are a little bit high. For this reason I will turn a bit further to the left here so that we can avoid that island down here. So what's the tower frequency again? 18.1. Flaps 5. Oh, nope, we don't want to pitch down that dramatically. Alright, so avoided the first island, let's turn to the right and intercept the final. So we can descend down to 1100. That's the pattern altitude.
2500.
Checked. Alright, gear down. And there's our runway right over there. Alright, flaps 20. And flaps 30. Speed checked, flap 30. Alright, so we'll level off in 1000 and then we'll establish ourselves from there. Beautiful. Man, look at this. That's the type of island paradise that I was looking for when I decided to fly here. Okay, glide slope capture. Landing checklist. Landing checklist complete. So, set go around altitude 5,700. New Zealand 990 established.
New Zealand 990, established on visual approach runway 8 at Faleolo Airport.
Yeah, that's what I said. Speed check
Approaching
correcting.
08.
Alright, tell you what, we'll just head over to tower. Tower, New Zealand 990 established. Checked.
New Zealand 990, Faleolo Tower, continue approach, runway 8.
Roger. Checked. Continue. New Zealand 990, are we clear to land? I mean, I'm not gonna go around for this, that's pretty
New
clear.
Zealand 990, winds calm, runway 8, clear to land.
Alright, here we go. So, speed brake up, thrust was normal. Manual brakes. And, well, the landing clearance came before our wheels touched down, so
meters
that was
remaining.
technically speaking legal. Even though there is, of course, a little bit of room for improvement for the timing for the tower.
200 remaining.
Taxi to 1 via Bravo, stay with me.
Stand 1 via Bravo, I'll stay with you. New Zealand 990.
900 remaining.
New Zealand 990, taxi to stand 1 via Bravo, stay with me.
Taxi to stand 1 via Bravo, New Zealand
600
990.
remaining.
Okay, here we go. Oh, come on, GSX. Oh, did it just do something? Yeah. Terminal 1 and New Zealand 990 request stand 4.
New Zealand 990, taxi to 3 via Bravo, good day.
New Zealand 990 request stand 4.
New Zealand 990, taxi to stand 4 via Bravo, stay with me.
Stand 4 via Bravo, New Zealand 990. They could have probably understood that one a little bit easier. Alright though, so number 4 is to the right hand side over here. Looks like that's going to be one of those very interesting ones. So, those turning points are for the A340, 747 and... Okay, 340-500 and 340-600. But we're in a 787, so we gotta help ourselves here. Alrighty. So, park and brake set and APU running. Very good. 1 and 2. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Okay, so... yeah, we've had you. Checklist override. So, shutdown checklist. Park and brake. Set. Shutdown checklist. Complete. Well, my friends, and that's it. Let's go ahead and grab our deboarding, please. Let's see how I parked, by the way. Yeah, that looks okay. Should have been a little bit further to the left. But honestly, for such a tight stand and for just having our 2D world in flight simulation here, pretty nice. So with that, welcome to Faleolo. Now, in case you don't remember, Faleolo is available from Kiwism at a very small price tag, and I think it's a pretty good looking airport for that. Very interesting approach over here as well, in between the mountains and the islands, so overall I am really happy with this one. Now, if you liked what you saw in this video, especially if you liked the ATC, on departure maybe a bit more than on arrival, they still have to work out the visual approaches, then be sure to leave your comment underneath the video and do check Say Intentions out using the link that you can find in the video description below. In the meantime though, I'm very much looking forward to your feedback on today's flight, how you like the 787, and with that out of the way, as always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.